一番生きてるね。おお、匂いがすごいですね。エビだ。
Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. From the video that just played, I saw this earlier on Instagram. It's one of the pages I follow. These guys going around, they clean up people's houses and whatnot. And, I've seen a lot of stuff like this before. Not just moving or not just, the Instagram video wise, but when I used to be a mover, from time to time, you'd see stuff like this. We get hired to clean up people's houses that were hoarders, or, have to move people that were hoarders. And it would be a drain on you as the mover, because these people were, living in absolute filth. And, especially once learning about the truth and all this, and learning that there's different spirits out there and whatnot. Really, when it comes down to it, you don't want to fucking touch any of the shit in the house. And, after a while of doing jobs like this, you start to realize that you start to notice different patterns of people, how they carry themselves, how they have their house. And you see them for the video, this person's house was completely filthy, food everywhere. They were young, just started living on their own, I guess. This is what happened when they started to live on their own. They just, whether they're home trained or not, they lost everything and just started piling up trash and not throwing stuff out. Things get piled up. And not to ramble too much, but basically the gist of it is, your mind, what is going on in your mind, what goes on in your head will be reflected in reality in your house. How you keep your house, how you keep your space. Whether it's organized, disorganized, cluttered, full of trash, whatever, that's going to be a reflection of your mind state. And in these times, you need to have your mind as clean as possible, because in these times you're not gonna be able to hang on to things. You need to throw everything that is not useful out. So this is Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6, and I think I was going to read this in the GNT. Proverbs 22 and verse 6 in the GNT says, "Teach children how they should live, and they will remember it all their life." And, this is referring to the ways of the scriptures. The law, statutes, commandments, everything. To teach them not only that, but, how to order themselves, how to clean up, how to take care of themselves, so they don't live in disgusting conditions like this, to where you have to hire people to clean up after you. But this is something that you learn when you're young. You have to be taught this. So train up a child, again, Proverbs 22 and verse 6 in the GNT. Teach children how they should live, and they will remember it all their life. Now, if you were to teach a child, to discipline them, to show them, how to clean up, how to take care of themselves, how to cook for themselves, whatever, you know, and chances are that if you put somebody else that was trained up in that same house, and they would never have that same problem with maggots and bugs crawling everywhere and, you know, rotting food all around there. No, they wouldn't put up with that. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. So in this walk, you know, we have to examine ourselves and where we primarily live. Yeah, we have houses, apartments, whatever, but most of the time we're spending our days in our mind. And if your mind is cluttered with different things, whether it be, you know, things of the world, booty shaking videos, whatever, you know, you're focused on different things, you know, you need to, I mean, every day you should be examining yourself. But this is examine yourself. You know, look at yourself. Take a good look. See if there's anything out of place. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. So you have to, you know, test yourselves. Prove yourself. You know, you live in your mind. You know what's going on in your mind. Which, yeah, the mind is desperately wicked. But you know what's going on in your mind. You know when you need to clean it up. What you need to get rid of. What's not beneficial for you. Because, hey, like your house, you know, your mind is a reflection of that. All these things are eventually going to show up. Again, 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua Hamashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. So you should examine yourself. See if Yahushua is really in you. Is he really dwelling in you? Are you really doing the things that he said to do? Are you living yourself in a manner that he would approve of? And if not, you would be a reprobate, a reject. You would be like the video, you know, that just played. You know, filthy, disgusting. This is 2 Peter's. Hold on 1 second. I think I just jumped ahead somewhere. Right, okay. This is 2 Peter chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 20. For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Lord Yahweh and the Lord and Savior Yahushua Hamashiach. So if you heard the word, you escaped the pollutions of the world, you know, once you hear this word and you're cleansed through the word, you become a new person, and you're supposed to carry on that way. You know, that old man is dead. That old way of living, you know, you used to, you know, let trash pile up. You used to let stuff build up in your mind. Now you're a new man. You let go of all that stuff. Keeping your house clean. 2 Peter 2 and 20. For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Lord and Savior Yahushua Hamashiach, they are again entangled therein and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. So it's worse off for you. You know, if you get cleaned up, you know, and speaking of your mind, you know, you going back into the world, you know, you get your house all cleaned up and then it's all degraded again. You know, this is worse off because, hey, and speaking of, in the times coming, hey, if you fall out, fall back into the world, you know, hey, the end is worse off because and you're going to be destroyed. You're going to lose your crown, and you're going to be destroyed in the thermonuclear destruction. Verse 21, for it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness, than after they have known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. So it would have been better, it was better for you to have not even known at all. It's better for you not even to have cleaned up your mind. It's better for you not to even know, to not have the knowledge, not to have known at all. Verse 22, but it has happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. Oh, Slaki. And the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. So, hey, like a dog throws up whatever he ate. You know, he threw it up for a reason. And then the same dog showing you, you know, how simple a dog is, will go back and eat that same vomit. It'll go right back to it. And the same thing with a pig. You know, you just washed the pig or whatever, and then it jumps right back in the mud. So like this, and with your mind, your house or whatever, once you get it cleaned up, keep it clean. Try your best to, which, hey, you're going to have to tidy up every once in a while, but hey, try your best to keep it clean. And that house was absolutely disgusting because, that stuff had been piled up in months. And people got to come in your house with masks and gloves and stuff on. Like, man, that is disgusting, terrible. But hey, the minds of the people today are like this. You know, you meet a chick, and one of the first things, you know, I'll do is like look at, before I even go to their house or whatever, I'll look at their car, see if the car is at least clean. Because a lot of people live in their car. You know, not literally, but they spend a lot of time in their car. So how they clean up their car or whatever will be basically, you know, how they keep their house. You know, you have these little spots of reflections where you can see, you know, how people are, or how they think, or their mindset. This is Matthew chapter 12. And I'll start at verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone, and this is Yahushua speaking. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. So this is speaking of, you know, different evil spirits. A lot of people have different kinds of spirits on them. A lot of people have many spirits on them. And they'll dwell in your mind. You know, your mind is a big place. You know, a lot of things going on there. You don't know everything that goes on in your mind. Which that's why also it says in Jeremiah, you know, the mind is desperately wicked. And these demons know your mind. You know, they know what makes you move and what makes you tick. And they get on you, hey, they're real hard to shake off. Matthew 12 and 43, when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from which I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. So, hey, like that house, you know, in the beginning video I keep mentioning, hey, they had basically got that, you know, if you were to have a video representation of getting a spirit off you and cleaning up your mind, hey, they cleaned up that house. And say if that same spirit would come back, hey, it would be trashed like that again. But Matthew 12 and 45, then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. So, Hey, when you get the unclean spirit off you, it's gone, it's left. And if that spirit comes back, and it's going to bring 7 other spirits with it. That could be any number of different spirits with it that are worse. They're going to completely trash the place. Can you imagine that house? Having somebody worse living in it? That house was already trashed. But once again, these are, a reflection of your mind, You want to keep them evil spirits away. This is Proverbs chapter 24, and I'll start at verse 3, and this is an Amplified Bible. Through skillful and godly wisdom, a house, a life, a home, a family is built, and by understanding it is established on a sound and good foundation, and that foundation is Yahushua. So you're building a house. And all together, all the men of Israel that are preaching this word, hey, we're building a temple, a spiritual temple. And there's a blueprint. There's a specific way to go about this. But here, hey, you're building a house in yourself. You're cleaning up. You're building rooms. You're storing up knowledge. You're making, imagining in your mind, a beautiful mansion where all these treasures, these scriptures are stored in. All the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is stored within us in this beautiful house. Considering how beautiful Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, His mercy, His glory, His Son, the treasures of knowledge, how beautiful these things are. Would you want that, that house to fall into disarray? No, you'd want to take care of it. You'd want it taken care of. You'd want it to be, because your house is a representation of you, of your mind, and then we're like miniature representations of Yahushua, and Yahushua is a representation of Yahweh. So each one of those things is going to reflect each other. Lord willing, that makes sense. But again, Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 3 in the Amplified. Through skillful and godly wisdom, a house, a life, a home, a family is built, and by understanding it is established on a sound and good foundation, and by knowledge its rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. So from here I'm going to go to Matthew 13 and 52, and I'm going to read, I might read this in a few versions, but this is Matthew 13 and 52 in the GNT. So he replied, "This means then that every teacher of the law who becomes a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like a homeowner who takes new and old things out of his storage room," which I think there's a better translation. Let me see here. The Amplified version. He said unto them, "Therefore every scribe who has become a disciple of the kingdom of heaven is like the head of a household." So hey, once you put yourself under the yoke of Yahushua, hey, you're becoming a disciple to him. You're becoming a disciple to the kingdom of heaven. A disciple meaning under the rule of, and you are like a householder, the house owner. So you're the head of the house. You being the man, you're the head of the house. So you decide what comes in and out. And therefore, every scribe who has become a disciple of the kingdom of heaven is like the head of a household, who brings out of his treasure things that are new and fresh and things that are old and familiar, referring to these scriptures. You have the knowledge, these treasures that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua created, you have all these things in your mind. And when the time is needed, you bring these treasures out. But if your house is looking, your house is looking like that lady's house, that woman's house, filthy, disgusting, rotten things everywhere, everything is corrupted, what treasure could you bring out? This is the last one I'll close out here. This is Matthew on the break. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and 13. Now therefore set thine house in order, meaning your mind, and reprove thy people, comfort such as them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Because the time's coming, Jacob's trouble is here, the beginning stages. Some of us might be pilgrims, no telling where we're going to be, what's going to be happening. But Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is going to take care of his people, take care of his elect. Verse 14, let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. So all these things that will clutter up your mind. Worrying about what you're going to eat, where you're going to be in the next week, trying to plan something out 6 months from now, trying to save up for a car, which, there's no problem in doing that, but these things aren't the priority, because that this collapse is coming. So you're not even invested in these things. You're hoping that collapse happens right now. Verse 15, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. So we're looking ahead to flee from these times. So you're putting everything in order in your mind, because this is in your mind is where you dwell. So you're putting everything in order, putting the priorities first. What are the real priorities? Because you know what's coming. So if you know what's coming, everything else isn't so important. Yeah, you need to eat. Yeah, you need clothing. Yeah, you need some shelter. But Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua can provide for all that. So that takes care of just about everything else. That takes care of everything. But the point being is to set your house in order. Yourself being first and foremost. Speaking to myself, also first and foremost. But Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachakwadash, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 the rest of your life. Shalom.